So you're going to Cambodia and you need to know how safe this country is to travel. Well, the idea of travelling to such a place not too many years ago would have been unthinkable. Those terrible atrocities and the ensuing terrorism that took place made Cambodia a no-go country. Not so anymore. The problems Cambodia had are in the past, and the good news is this excellent little country is perfectly safe for travellers. Well, almost perfect. When travelling to a third world country, which Cambodia certainly is, the biggest concern people have is for the levels of violent crime. People often ask, is it safe to go walking around in these countries, and what are my chances of getting mugged? I can understand these concerns. After all, you are likely to be perceived as a wealthy foreigner in a poor country. But don't worry about it. I've been going to Cambodia for years and I walk everywhere. Never had a problem. A few years ago, it was unadvisable to walk around the capital, Phnom Penh, especially at night. There were certainly armed robberies a few years ago, some even at gunpoint. Even today, there are still a lot of guns floating around Cambodia. But Cambodia, even the capital, doesn't seem to have these problems anymore. In fact, it's a lot safer than most countries. But there are still dangers, so you've still got to exercise caution. One of the most common crimes in Cambodia is bag snatching. When you walk around with your day bag or your backpack or whatever, it's clear that anything you may have of value is likely to be in there. So how are thieves going to snatch your bag? Most likely they'll do it on a motorbike. I've seen this happen in Phnom Penh in the riverside area, which is where you're most likely to stay if you visit this great city. Some tourists were in a tuk-tuk in heavy traffic. A motorbike pulls along and snatches their bag. The tourist guys got out of the tuk-tuk and ran after them, but no good. The motorbike was soon out of sight. It's worth mentioning that it's not always advisable to pursue the thieves. They could be armed and dangerous. Much better is not to let it happen in the first place. Make sure your bag and valuables are secure and pay attention to those motorbikes coming up alongside you. So, how about when you have a night out in Cambodia? How safe is that? Well, it's fine. There is great nightlife throughout the country. There is one point worth mentioning. It's well known that Phnom Penh has a wealthy elite, and the young Cambodians from this elite are often in some of the more trendy bars and nightclubs in Phnom Penh. That's fine, except they often take their own bodyguards with them on a night out, and those bodyguards will be armed. I once saw a sign in the well-known Sharky's bar in Phnom Penh which said, "Please tell your bodyguards to leave their guns at reception." It's worth bearing this in mind if you get into an argument with them. To be honest, the locals are generally well behaved, and if you're likely to encounter any trouble on a night out in Cambodia, it's more likely to be with us Westerners. Cambodia has very cheap beer, and for some Europeans, Americans, Australians, whatever, the temptation is to drink far more than they would in their own countries. Cambodia is great value for beer, and it's not unusual to see drunken, highly unpleasant people on a night out. On a completely different subject, but very important to point out, is the grim subject of landmines. Yes, it's sadly still the case that Cambodia has many landmines lurking out there from the 1970s. It's always advisable to stick to the well-known paths in this once war-torn, war-ravaged country. Anyone planning on going trekking in the mountains of Cambodia, please take advice beforehand and of course go with a guide. Okay, I've talked about personal safety, but what about your luggage? Is it safe in your hotel room or whatever accommodation you're staying in? Well, personally, I've always stayed in reasonable budget hotels and I've never had a problem. Keep your valuables locked in your suitcase with some good reliable padlocks and you should be just fine. As for really expensive items, jewellery and that sort of thing, well, I wouldn't carry them anyway. I'd leave them at home before travelling. It's also worth noting that jewellery, expensive watches or gold chains can be an obvious target for muggers. Now you may think, what kind of fool would walk around a third world country wearing expensive jewellery? Take it from me, you'd be surprised how many people do. And then they wonder why they get robbed. Personally, I've never owned an item of jewellery in my life, so it's never been a problem for me. I have to say, I have encountered travellers who have been robbed of their belongings from hotel rooms, but they always seem to be staying at the bargain basement end of the hotel scale. Well, I wouldn't. We're spending a few dollars more just to be safe. Another point worth mentioning is don't flash the cash. Remember, you're in a poor country here and locals don't like to see your Western wealth rubbed in their faces. I know of a British guy who got drunk, got abusive to people, jumped on a motorbike taxi, stopped at an ATM and flashed a big wad of dollars at the motorbike rider, who promptly snatched the wad of dough out of his hands and rode off. Well, what the fuck do you expect? Also, be careful of using those motorbike taxis to get around. You don't always know who the hell they are. Much safer to use tuk-tuks, especially at night. So, to sum this up, Cambodia is a safe country to travel around, provided you use a few common sense rules to abide by. Number 1, never trust anyone. Well, that's a rule of life anyway. 2, never offend the local people. You're always going to be outnumbered. 3, keep your wits about you at all times. And 4, never get involved in anything you shouldn't get involved in. Abide by these simple rules and you will have a great time in this great little country. So, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel because I've got a lot more info I want to share with you, and give this video a thumbs up if it's been useful to you. Oh yes, there is one more thing. About my wallet. You know, the one that never ever gets stolen. So here it is. Yes, this is the wallet that I carry with me in my zipped up shorts. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, that's not a wallet, that's a plastic bag. You're perfectly right, it is. Well, it's where I keep my money, so to me, it is a wallet. Believe me, it gets howls of laughter when I pull it out of my shorts to pay my bar bill. In fact, a massage girl once asked me in a very, very sarcastic way, is that your Louis Vuitton? No, it was not made by Louis Vuitton. It's a plastic bag and it's what I use as a wallet. So the question is, why does my wallet never get stolen? Well, because it's a piece of shit, that's why. Who the hell's going to want to steal a plastic bag? Whatever the hell, it's served me well over the years. I've never been robbed, and made my plastic bag and my money are nice and secure to travel another day. Thanks for watching once again. God bless you all.